indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the January 11th, 2016 board meeting. Those board meeting, just a reminder that if there is an emergency, we exit the rear of the building, go to your car, please do not leave until so directed by emergency service personnel. Also, it's a non-smoking building, so if we must do it outside. First of all, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy, healthy, and prosperous one, hopefully, for all of you. And I'd like to welcome back Veronica Perry after, what, about a 10-year layover since the last time you were here?
A little bit.
And, where's former Trustee Hilton? Is he happy?
He's hiding back.
He's back there with Dennis and the big boys. Should be over there with Frank and really.
Stay away from Frank. I was going to say that.
I haven't been invited yet. The last one, what he is.
Okay, board minutes. Village Clerk, Seal.
Yes, good evening, and again, Happy New Year to everybody, healthy and prosperous 2016. I just want approval tonight for the board meeting minutes of December 14, 2015.
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion to accept.
Second. Any additions, deletions, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Treasurer Krawczyk, it's Chris.
I have very little tonight, Mr. Mayor. I have bills, but there's a lot of them. For the period of December 15th through, November 25th through December 15th. And then we have some through the 30th and up through Monday, up through today. $1,317,530.41. Well, we didn't have a meeting in between, so. The five largest of those bills: Patchogue Ambulance, second half of our emergency ambulance services, 308, 047, 04. Adjo for River Avenue Sewer Extension, 130, 815. McHugh for theater seats, 88,696.25. J.R. Holzmacher, 63, 330, 38. Engineer for Patchogue Theater renewal, mascot dock renovations. And Pilger, Skidmore, various general liability insurance coverage, 63, 334. And they total $654, $189, and 1 cent. If I could ask approval?
Motion to accept is presented.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any questions, concerns?
I have a question. What is that second half emergency ambulance services? What is that?
That's our share of what we pay.
That's what we pay the ambulance company. We pay them about $600,000 a year.
And the town of Brookhaven pays them another equivalent amount. That's how our trips to the hospital are funded.
That's the trips to the hospital?
Exactly.
Yep.
So we've talked about this before.
Yeah, I know.
About changing.
And it's not reimbursed by insurance companies or anybody.
When you see it on that.
You know, we talked with the ambulance company, and they're looking into insurance coverage and what have you, we're charging, but we haven't heard
I
anything.
mean, insurance coverage is there, but it's not being utilized.
Right.
Well, the concern becomes is there for some, there for most, but not there for many. So you get yourself in a situation where, if you, my understanding, Mr. Egan, if we charge one, we got to charge everybody.
Correct.
And it's how do you do that?
Correct. And there are issues, complicated issues with whether we want to seek the reimbursement from the insurance company with regard to co-payments and such on people who are getting taxed and then ultimately going to have to pay co-payments. But it is something that we've discussed with the ambulance company before, and something we'll continue to discuss with them as those expenses continue to increase with the ambulance company.
Yeah, there are companies out there that do the billing, do the collection, do the reimbursement. They're private companies, money-making companies, so the pressure they put on you is to go after those co-payments. So it really is, it's not just a simple thing of charging the ambulance company. It just doesn't quite work that way. But,
How about we have a public hearing on it?
I don't think we're ready for that just yet, but
Well,
possibility.
let's let the taxpayers keep paying.
They should look at their insurance policies, find out what your deductible would be on your private insurance for a trip to the hospital. You will be surprised how expensive your co-payment is for an ambulance trip. which you do not have to pay for now.
And a lot of people have high deductible plans,
Right.
I mean, but then they have lower premiums, so there's a trade-off.
Yeah.
So it really is, it's not as simple as just putting it out there and making it happen. And $600,000 a year is a tremendous amount of money. On the other side, when you figure a $10, $11, $12 million budget, it's 5%. That's what you're looking at. So,
I mean, even if we just took what the insurance company paid and forgave the copay, you still want to save some money. But it's something we have to pursue.
it's about the legality of all of them. That's the issue. There was a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Just on, there was $130,000 to Patchogue for a Waverly sewer extension. That's being paid by grant money. It's not being paid by tax dollars. J.R. Holzmacher was $63,000. Engineering for Patchogue Theater and the Mascot Dock renovation. Mascot Dock renovation will be paid through FEMA, which is I think $1.4 million is what we're getting in that project. Had gone out to bid, and once that bid comes through, we'll be starting on that. And the engineering for the theater and the theater seats. And maybe Jack, you want to talk just a little bit about how that's being funded?
I was actually at the theater the other day and saw the work going on. It's quite amazing. I guess they got they got the seats out, I guess, in less than 2 days.
Yeah.
They took out 1,200 seats in less than 2 days. And great job. And I was there just on Friday afternoon, I guess. And it's proceeding on time and on the budget, and they're doing a really good job. And it's just one of those projects that is going to be something that'll help the theater for many, many years to come.
The funding for this comes, and I think Thomas mentioned it a couple times, we get $1 a ticket for each ticket that's purchased for shows that are put on by the Patchogue Theater itself, which should be close to 100,000, maybe 88,000 to 90,000, I think is what it will be next year. And a piece of the Parks grant will pay for the seats. So the cost of the $88,000 for the theater seats, and my point is, this is being borne by the taxpayer. It's not a taxpayer-driven renovation. I think that to be very clear to people, is that we've managed to cobble together the money through the seat charge, which is tremendous, and Tom had worked on that. And the theater and the Parks grant were able to do this whole renovation, which includes part of the $63,000 for J.R. Holzmacher and his engineering costs. So out of this $654,000, more than half of it is being picked up by sources other than taxpayer. I think that is the piece that we really need to clearly understand. Because you hear these big numbers getting thrown out there, and the sense is where we're getting the money from. Well, we work very hard to make sure that when we do these things, especially the ones that seem to be a little bit out of the box, such as the theater, such as the River Avenue development, the sewer project. I don't want the person sitting down on Ryder Avenue or sitting down on Cedar Avenue or on West Avenue to think that they're picking up the cost for those. They aren't. They're being picked up by other revenue sources that we've managed to cobble together. Ronnie, any other?
Well, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, real quick, I know that you wanted.
It's very brief. Good evening. I just finished a 2-year term as president of the Patchogue Garden Club, and our last meeting was in November, and we collectively agreed that it was important for us to say thank you to the mayor, to Lori, to Joe Dean and his crew specifically, and to let you know that we never took for granted, nor will we ever take for granted, the help that you have given us, especially in the last 2 years, hopefully going forward. And we wanted to just express our thanks in a very small way. It's just a certificate of appreciation. One is for you, Mayor, one is for you, Lori, and one is for, I tried to get it for Joe Dean, but Joe insisted that it be for the Village of Patchogue Department of Public Works.
Oh, that's good.
So I just wanted to present these and say thank you. Thank you very much.
Hold it a second.
Thank you for all you do, Mark. Mark's beautiful.
Okay.
Go Packers.
Yes, go Packers.
All right, get close.
Just give us a smile, that's all. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Well, thank you.
bet.
Thank Josephine for all the hard work all these years. that you
Yeah, she's
have
the
done.
incoming president, so
I know.
thanks a lot.
Well, you know, I think the thing that has always amazed me about whether it be the Garden Club or any of the other volunteer organizations, the amount of time and effort that you've been quietly, that makes us look very good sitting up here, that people don't realize. And I think that thanking us was much appreciated. But I think the community really needs to understand the amount of time, effort, and work that goes into whether it's the garden on the corner or the plantings on Main Street. And I see Josephine all the time with her pickup truck. She and Paula Murphy and Karen Ferb wandering up and down the block doing the things that they do. And I remember seeing John at times walking up the block, picking the dead flowers out and pruning as he walks. You know, those kinds of things, those that are done quietly. You know, there's that. Sometimes something was described to me as a community like a quilt, with all these different little boxes of groups of people doing things. But then there's the thread that holds it all together. And the thread is what you don't see, but the thread is what holds it together. And I think that the Garden Club and the volunteer groups are like that thread that holds it all together. That we aren't who we are. We don't have the sustainability and the strength that we are without groups like yourself. The thread that holds it all together, much appreciated.
Well said.
Very nice.
But thank you.
Well, thank you.
For your service.
You bet.
Thanks, Mark.
You bet. Thank you,
Thank you,
Lori.
Mark.
Okay, public hearings.
Okay, we have one of three. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held on Monday, January 11, 2016, 14 Baker Street, Patchogue, New York, to amend Section 415-14 of Chapter 415 of Village Code to prohibit the stopping, standing, or parking of vehicles on the north side of East 2nd Street from Waverly Avenue to a point 100 feet east therefrom. By proposed local law, a copy of which is on file with the Village Clerk. At said public hearing, any person interested will be given the opportunity to be heard.
This was requested by the 5th Precinct. 2nd Street is the street that goes into the 5th. The area they're talking about is on the north side. Originally, back when the 5th was, when they had done the renovations on the building, I think Brian was in office at that point, was he? So those spaces were left open because that was open as a store at the time. I think it was a card store or
a baseball card store.
Yeah. So they had left 2 spaces open. The 5th is finding it difficult when their cars parked there when they come up to the corner to make the turn. And I don't think there's anything in that store now.
Seems empty to me.
Yeah, I think it is.
It has been for a good long time. So basically it is just a little bit of housekeeping on the corner. Any comments by the board?
Seems simple.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Okay. Second, notice is hereby given that a public hearing be held on Monday, January 11, 2016, 14 Baker Street, Patchogue, New York, by the Board of Trustees, to amend sections 210-17 and 210-19 of Chapter 210 of Village Code to prohibit pile foundations and open designs between the first floor and the perimeter grade beam of structures located in zones A1 to A30, AE, AH, A, and AO of the flood insurance rate map. By proposed local law, copy which is on file at the office of the village clerk. At said public hearing, any person interested would be given the opportunity to be heard.
Lori, do you want to speak on this?
Yeah. It's my understanding that this is a way to allow homeowners who are in negotiations with FEMA, as far as the damages they've had, if we don't have a code, this on village code, then they could be denied to have an enclosed foundation, and FEMA might enforce upon them a pile foundation. So for people who would like to have a home that's enclosed on the ground floor, although the habitable space is above, but still that space, you know, for whatever reasons, you know, they can do things with, or just have the house fit into the neighborhood better. So that was a recommendation of Building Inspector Sarich that we adopt this.
Any other comments, Mr. Egan?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Comments by the board? Public? Motion to accept is presented.
Motion to accept.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, lastly, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held on Monday, January 16th, or January 11, 2016, 14 Baker Street, Patchogue, New York, by the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Patchogue to repeal Section 435-31B of the Village Code to clarify the off-street parking requirements within the D3 Business District by proposed local law, a copy of which is on file at the Office of the Village Clerk. At said public hearing, any person interested will be given the opportunity to be heard.
Mr. Egan.
This is simply just an orphan cleanup, a section that has been remained in the code after we clarified that in D3 parking was required. This was a section that was that remained unrepealed. So all we're doing is just deleting that section and reserving it pursuant to the prior enactment.
Okay. So it's house cleanup.
Yes. So it's an orphan cleanup.
Okay. Motion.
Motion.
Oh,
Second.
Public to be heard. Any comment? Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and trustees. Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Name and address, please, for the record.
Excuse me?
Name and address for the record.
Yes, Richard Kemp, Patchogue, New York, Jennings Avenue. Mr. Mayor, I sent you a letter regarding...
Is it in reference to this public hearing?
Yes.
On section 435-31B of the village code?
Well, yes.
D3?
Since the attorney has stated that it's a matter of straightening things out.
No, this is
only on this section. This is one section is being deleted. So do you have a comment on the repeal of the no parking, this orphan section on the D3 as it relates to D3 business parking?
I can't take any comment unless it relates specifically to this. If you have another issue, we can clarify that.
All right, then okay? Just let me ask this question.
So I'm not going to answer unless we're do this.
D3, this has nothing to do with the December meeting and...
But does it have to do with... Mr. Kemp, does it have to do with this public hearing? If it has nothing to do with this public hearing, I can't even address your question on the record. Because everything we're talking about is on the record now, so I would prefer that if it has to do with anything else that we speak to a little bit later. Okay? Thank you.
All right.
The final part of the master plan, the conceptual plan that we have for the 5 parts that we're looking to make improvements to. The exceptions are going to be, we need to really decide what we want to do with the shoreline, because we've been going back and forth with the engineers, with Canal, and with the people on Valentin here at the village as to what the better shoreline would be down there. What we have now, which is a hard shoreline, or a more passive, dissipative shoreline like a beach. So we're going to have the engineering report, we're going to have Canal report on it. Of course, any decision that we do make that would move that part back at shorefront, we don't want to give up a lot of what we have planned there. So we need to find a way to incorporate all the good projects that we have in line for that part, along with the passive shoreline, if that's decided with regard to the shoreline and the bulkheading that exists there now.
And what time is that meeting?
That meeting is at 10:30 in the morning, right here. At that time, we're also going to start to cost out the projects. We're going to try and put some numbers to what we want to accomplish at each part. And once we do that, we'll be able to take a step back and say, hey, this is what we have, this is what we need to do, this is what we have to do,
what's going to be, what will the plan be going forward. So it's an important meeting. I'll look forward to it, and a lot's going to come out of that meeting right there. A follow-up to that would be the Clementi Park, which, as I reported at the last meeting here, we've kind of stopped the Clementi Field, Wallbound Park, Clementi Field, I'm sorry. We stopped the work on Clementi Field for the winter. We're looking to start that again, hopefully, if not the end of February, very beginning of March. I did walk today with Valentin from DPW, and we took a look at the other two fields, the 90-foot field and the pump house field. What we're looking to do with them now is basically regrade the infields, make them drain a little bit better than what they're doing now, and just get them ready for the season that's coming up. We don't want to put a lot of money into the fields at this point in time, simply because the master plan probably will have us revisit those fields and perhaps put a general soccer field in the middle of the outfield. So that is part of the initial plan. So we're looking to do what we can in-house, keep the costs down for now, and then I guess when we come back and revisit it at the beginning of spring of 2017, we will pay a little more attention to those two baseball fields that are there. But we will have them ready to go for this upcoming season. The last thing I have is with regard to cameras. We have monies, and the majority of that money has come from Senator Krawczyk to install some more cameras on Main Street. We have 3 more locations, one on West Main Street, another one on the Four Corners, and one that's going to be a little further up on East Main Street. And I'm in the process of getting the paperwork done on that this week, so hopefully by next week we can start to have the install on those. Unless there are any questions for me, I believe that's all I have.
You mentioned Senator Krawczyk also, the Clementi Field, a portion of that, he'd given us a grant for $125,000 that will be going towards that.
Absolutely.
The upgrade of that. And currently, Trustee Hilton, former Trustee Hilton, is working with the town of Brookhaven, because Senator Krawczyk also gave us $600,000 to do the rebuilding of the East Jetty that comes out of the Patchogue River. So
that's great.
So he's been very, very supportive of this community in a very substantive sort of way. You know, so
that's very good. Glad you mentioned that. Well worth mentioning. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Oh. Making fireworks.
Happy New Year, everyone. Pleasure to be here. And yes, I'll start the report off. Just to wrap up another wonderful event this community put together, which was our Midnight on Main Street on New Year's Eve. Definitely want to take the opportunity to thank the mayor and the village for all the major assistance that made this happen. DPW really came through big time and helped us out with it. Code enforcement was unbelievable. Suffolk County Police were amazing. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Blue Point Brewery, the Patchogue BID, Economic Opportunity Council of Suffolk, the Sirigliano Agency. Those are the major contributors, as well as everybody who donated on the GoFundMe campaign.
And I think you'll be getting $2,500 is coming through Legislative Florida's office also.
Thank you. We all counted on that. I appreciate that. I know you had mentioned that.
Yep.
That would be very helpful to make sure we do pay all the bills. And of course, I want to thank North Star Signs. They're the ones who create that beautiful ball that's now the patent and now forever, the Patchogue New Year's Eve ball. And LFG Rigging, who donated that rigging equipment at no cost, which is very much appreciated as well. It was a great event. Once again, Patchogue showed itself to be ahead of its time, doing midnight at 9, and it really has become a nice sweet spot, at least for this community, to celebrate New Year's, because it does, as you saw, even though the crowd was a bit larger than it was last year, it was just double the families than we had last year, because it really truly is a family event, and I think everybody really enjoys seeing the kids be able to participate in an activity like that and make it such a family event. So we look forward to hopefully doing it again next year. Next year, we did look at the calendar and see New Year's Eve's on a Saturday next year. So I'm sure that'll add some little extra wrinkles to it, but I'm sure it'll be another great event. We look forward to doing that. And now, Chamber is in a little bit of a quiet time in January. I do want to highlight Valentine's Day. The Business Promotions Committee has set up that most of our merchants will be giving free candy bar gifts for those that spend $20 or more in our local stores. So look for more details to come about that. And of course, then the next thing we'll be looking towards is the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Thanks to the village, we've already set the date. I want to remind everybody, because Easter being a little early this year, our date is a little different than it normally is this year. And the date is Saturday, March 19th. And the parade will start at 10 a.m., starting with the kickoff of the Road Rise to Meet Ye 5K, and following with the parade. One thing I can announce is that the committee has selected the Grand Marshal for this year's parade. And it's somebody everybody knows very well. That's Father Frank Pizzarelli. And don't let the last name fool you. Father Frank's mother is actually born in Ireland, and he's half Irish. So he certainly fits quite well to be our Grand Marshal in the parade this year. And we'll be honoring Father Frank at our annual passing of the sash, which will definitely take place Sunday, February 28th. The location hasn't been 100% locked in stone, but it looks like it'll be at the public house. But do look for that, and we invite all the community to come down on the 28th, where we'll have our annual soda bread contest amongst most of the restaurants, and take this opportunity to congratulate Father Frank as our new Grand Marshal this year. And then other than that, that's really everything I've got. I know before you is a request to set our dates for this upcoming year, 2016. I don't know if you wanted to take care of that now, or if you'd rather wait till the appropriate time. You know, I'll leave that up to you. Now, you see the whole list of dates throughout the year. It's pretty much the same, as was highlighted in the letter. Though I know last year there was a push by the village to try to reduce the days that Main Street's closed for obvious reasons. Certainly closing Main Street is a cost, as well as a burden for those who live south of Montauk Highway. But we did get a overwhelming response about Oldies Night not happening last year, and the Business Promotion Committee was hoping that maybe there would be consideration to maybe bring that back in some shape or form. And I didn't even ask for street closure as much as maybe we could work something out to make it happen, because it is such a positive event. And I do have our chairperson of the Business Promotions Committee, Lori Valentin.
I was going to ask that that be held for tonight, and then we sit down.
That would be great.
Work on for the next board meeting.
That would be very welcome.
Sure. Want me to go through every day?
It's up to you. How do we? Yeah. Okay.
Before I start, though, I just want to make one quick comment. Midnight I made was fabulous, and I heard 6,000 people.
That was the rough estimate. You know, we don't have a head count, and a lot of people told me to not really mention when a number gets over 5,000. They say try not to say too much, because certainly when you have mass gatherings of 5,000, it does open up certain requirements that we're going to have to look to for next year. So whether we were or weren't over 5,000 this year, I think we can anticipate that we will be next year. And
well,
we'll be
if anybody hasn't seen it, the Krawczyk promotion, the video, they flew a drone around. So they got the fireworks from up high in the sky.
It looks like Las Vegas.
And
it's amazing.
Incredible. And by the way, we could probably get a really good crowd estimate from those videos.
That's true. That's a good point.
We want to do that. So, okay, I'm going to put my glasses on. Want to do them all at once, or I think we should just do them all at once. Okay. Long Island Against Domestic Violence Pet Parade. Saturday, May 7th, rain date May 14th, Shorefront Park, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. 2, Alive After 5 Music Festival and Street Fair, Thursday, July 7th, all Thursdays, July 21st, August 4th, August 18th, rain date August 26th, I'm sorry, 25th. This is Friday?
Friday or? No, not on the agenda.
Okay.
The letter was,
I'm sorry.
The letter had a couple.
Okay.
5 p.m.
Last year's letter and.
5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Street closed 4 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Carnival Days and Family Fun Night, Thursday, July 7th, Saturday, July 9th, Family Fun Night, Friday, July 8th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Street closed from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Friday, from Ocean Avenue to Maple Street. The oldies we're going to defer. St. Liberata Italian Festival, Saturday, September 24th, rain date, Saturday, October 1st, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., street closed 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., except Bocce's going to run till midnight. The Patchogue Fall Festival, Saturday, October 15th, rain date, Saturday, October 22nd, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., street closed 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Halloween happenings, Monday, October 31st, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., no street closure. And then midnight on Main Street, Saturday, December 31st, again celebrating my birthday. 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., street closed from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's it. That's a motion.
Motion to accept as presented. Presented. Motion done. Trustee Ferb. Second. All in favor?
Aye. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate working with you again for the upcoming year. And it did remind me, one thing I did forgot to mention is we are very proud that once again Alive After 5 was voted Long Island's best outdoor street festival. So we're very proud of that, to have that designation once again. And again, that's thanks to all the support we get from the village. All right, everybody have a great night.
Mayor Krieger.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier tonight I discussed the Patchogue Theater. Another thing I want to do is, I got an email this morning from Josine, and maybe Sal, you could confirm this, about the parking lot on Church Street. Did they pave it today, do you know?
I think it was paved this morning.
Okay, yeah, so it's another step forward, increasing parking. So we've got that little bank drive-up area back there now already paved. And Brian, I understand there was an email I saw about 27 that we're moving ahead on that.
Okay, it's on for tonight for certain demolition approvals.
Right. Okay,
How many new spaces?
we don't know yet, so it's still got to be figured out.
Right.
But
Just a point on that paving. You're technically not supposed to pave when it gets this cold. This is a temporary lot, and because it's just a temporary lot, we wanted to get it done. Once everything else happens, it's going to be torn up again. So the fact that it was paved at about 35 degrees, probably 36 degrees, which normally is not where you should be, but the fact it's going to be a short-lived lot, it made sense to do it and get it done.
And then 27, as Brian said, we're moving ahead on that, and we have a resolution later on. I'd like to request approval for Waverly, New York to hold the annual St. James Festival on Sunday, July 24th from 1:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the municipal parking lot adjacent to Bravo Markets. A motion?
I'll second that, Jack.
Jack, that's Joe's.
And we also need public safety to...
Sorry, Joe.
There been a motion in the second, though.
It's done.
Public safety. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. You can do mine, then, Joe. I'd like to request a resolution authorizing the partial release of certain covenants for the real property located at 201-205 South Ocean Avenue, which is the town hall here.
Yep.
And that's to put a new roof on, correct?
Yep.
And to remove the mural from the inside of the town of Brookhaven, and paying for that. And requesting the town of Brookhaven approve these covenants to be lifted, so.
The covenants are for our protection.
Yeah.
The covenant on the roof is that, and I think what the planning board said to them, that they must use architectural shingles that match as close as they can to what is there. Those are slate, very difficult to replace. There's a number of leaks in the building that need to be repaired. So when they replace it, they will replace it not in kind, but with something of similar texture, look, and feel that will not be noticeable from the street. And I think the town said they allowed about $30,000.
I'm not sure how much money it is, but they've done the research, and the mural is in fairly decent shape.
Yeah.
So what is going to happen with that? That's going to be...
They're going to take that down, and it's going to go in the town hall
Oh, okay.
up in Farmingdale.
And the stair? the staircase remain?
Stairway remains.
All the other covenants
Yeah, that was
for
the company,
protection
okay,
are there.
planning board.
Good motion on that?
Yeah. Just so you know also, the recommendation for this comes from the planning board. The applicant made a presentation to the planning board, and in effect, the applicant satisfied the planning board that it makes practical sense to replace the entire slate roof of the structure with a new tile-like shingles, which will provide a quality slate look, preserve the intent of the covenant while protecting the building from current potential roof issues. The planning board endorses this change and requires the village board to intercede on behalf of the applicant to lift this restriction. We put it through the paces to make sure that it's done right and it's done in concert with what the initial intent of the covenant was. There's a motion second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to read here, we have the resignation of Public Safety Officer Isaiah Camacho due to conflict with his current full-time employment as a Stony Brook University police officer. It has become necessary for Public Safety Officer Isaiah Camacho to resign from his position with Patchogue Village at this time. I'd like to make a motion to accept this with regrets.
Motion second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Trustee Keyes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not much on the wish list. I do have some comments I'd like to make. Let me do the wish list first. We received the letter, it's not on the agenda, the Tai Chai Kwang Day. I have some dates. We do it every year. It's about the 7th year, I think. And so they're looking to do it again. The dates are Saturday, April 30th, from 9 to noon. This is down at Shorefront Park. And as well as April event, we're hoping to continue with 4-week runs for each of the 2 sessions of Tai Chai. The events, and I'm sorry. Saturdays from June 4th through June 25th, from 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. Beginning on Saturday, August 6th and 27th, 8, 6, 13, 20, 27. No rain dates. 9 to 11. Like I said, this is something we've done for that. I talked to Maria today. They've got everything in order, in place. So that's a motion.
Motion second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
I've been asked to remind everyone that this Saturday was the brewery run. That's why Billy's here, by the way. Billy wants to make sure I make this. The brewery run this Saturday, River and Weeks Avenues will be closed 8:15. River should be open by 8:20, 8:25, and Weeks by 10:15. So just remind everyone that that will be the run this Saturday. How do I do, Bill?
That's great.
Public safety all set with that, Bill?
There's a meeting tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.
With the 5th also?
Yes.
Is Heller?
Yes.
Good.
And I just will come to a little update of our PEP committee, which is going to meet, I think, next Tuesday. Everyone knows what happens on Labor Day of this year, right? In the village of Patchogue. Our plastic bag ban will go into effect. We have some work to do. We will probably narrow down. We're going to try to distribute as many of the cloth bags to residents as we can. We're not going to get every resident, but we're going to do what we can to get as many as we can out, and obviously to educate people. Just a note on that, my wife was telling me the other day that she was watching, I guess, Good Morning America, and they had these guys exploring ice caves and all kinds of, these naturalists and some kind of thing. And in an interview, they asked one of these scientists, what is the biggest detriment to our environment? And he said plastic, we use plastic. So it's good for me to hear those kinds of things once in a while, to reinforce that, I'm not just spinning wheels, that we are making a difference. I know some people think that it's a waste or that we shouldn't be forcing people to do it, to behave in a certain way, but I think just when you hear from the professionals, you kind of...
Did you start making plans for the cloth bags yet?
We have.
Okay, do you have design and everything?
We do.
Oh.
It's the village here.
Okay, because Dave Rogers gave me some nice stuff that looks a little bit like some of the symbols and things from the crosswalk that we would use.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, the more complicated you get, Lord, the more expensive it gets.
No, it's really simple, but if you already have
The cost was far more, that's kind of why we went back to just sticking with the steel, because the cost was far more than what we anticipated. And I don't want to speak for the chamber, but I know Dave is also going to be looking at maybe some more of those days for, chamber distribution as well, but that's And one of the, a second project that a PEP committee,
One's down there, so, one in the middle. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's just me. The second project. The second project.
Oh, yeah, no, good, sir.
The second project the PEP committee is starting to get involved in. It's a little project called a CLIP project. We're going to attempt to clean the lakes in Patchogue. Treasurer Krawczyk and Clerk Seal have been pretty good on this for a few years now. We got the, again, St. Joe's College students are there involved. We met with them and Professor Mohammed Rana, and also Professor Kirk Lawrence, who's on our PEP committee. Students have done some pretty extensive research and studies in the lake, Patchogue Lake we're talking about for now. We have a meeting scheduled February 3rd with DEC and those students. Hopefully what the students have done will be a big step to us getting, you know, the permits for the permitting process. Patchogue Lake, as you know, is divided to the upper lake and lower lake. The upper lake controlled by the town. We're told that you can't, it wouldn't do any good to treat one lake without treating the other. You know, so we have to get the town involved. And you know, so as per Professor Rayner and my high school regents diploma, I'm not going to challenge his, you know, PhD. So, and that diploma from Bedford High School, Mr. Mayor. So, at any rate, so, you know, that's just another little thing that we're hoping, you know, and then the fundraising for that will start. And so anybody who has ideas who would maybe like to even get involved or, you know, kind of get hold of me. One of the little things that sort of has a Patchogue interest, Mr. Mayor, that I'd like to just mention, several weeks ago, I know you'd all read about the 6 American soldiers who were killed in Afghanistan. One was a detective from New York and one was Louis Bonacasa from Quorum. The Bonacasa family, his father and his aunts and uncles, graduated from PABMed. So they are relatively local residents, certainly have ties, you know, down in the village. I have known them for my lifetime. I've known Louis's father since I'm 5 years old. At any rate, the reason I'm even bringing it up is I went to the funeral, and the procession, which went from the funeral home in Quorum out to the cemetery in Calverton, it was so impressive to see the thousands of people, total strangers, lining both sides of Route 25 all the way out, holding flags, saluting, holding signs. Volunteer fire departments, all the fire departments, which I've gained even greater respect for, even ours. Bitter cold Saturday morning, every single fire department, Miller Place, Ridge, all the ones all the way out there. You know, had the big cherry pickers and the big flags, all standing at attention, saluting all the way out. And I mean, that had to be an hour-long procession because it was endless. And it was just a, you know, kind of a, makes it feel proud that, you know, this fellow mankind has that kind of heart that these people are doing this on their own time. Like I said, critical of it. And almost a shame, like I wondered to myself if I missed any opportunities, you know, to pay homage to a fallen hero or to support the family of a fallen hero. So at any rate, I was just kind of moved by that and impressed, and I just kind of wanted to mention that because there are, you know, Patchogue ties, and for those of you who are inclined to, you know, keep the Bonacasa family in your thoughts and prayers for strength, and for all of our military, all those that serve, they are true heroes. Thank you, Bet. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Bet. It really had a big meaning for me on that day. So, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Trustee Felice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, all, and Happy New Year. We're Veronica. It's very nice to see you. Just a quick DPW report. They're out there collecting Christmas trees, taking the Christmas decorations down in town, and they're also preparing the snow removal equipment. So just in case it does snow, we'll be ready for it. At this time, I'd like to request approval to purchase 6 solar off-grid wall lights at $1,408 each. These 6 lights will be demoed down at DPW to get an idea of their performance and where they might work best within the village. So that's a motion.
One of the places we're looking at is the alleyway.
Right.
By barbecues across the street from the brick house. That one that goes back to the church. Yeah, a little narrow.
That's good. As Joe calls it, Sally's Alley.
Sally's Alley.
Second motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Next, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution for the revised and amended map and plan for the out-of-district sewer and out-of-village connection for the Suffolk County, for the Suffolk Center for Rehabilitation and Nursing. The flow has been adjusted, downgraded, just based on the water usage records. So we had to rework the map. So that's a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Request approval to declare one gray QL80 quick lift asymmetrical vehicle lift as excess and to dispose of as scrap. It's an outdated lift. It's really not worth anything for anybody. It's just a place for scrap. So.
Motion second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Next, I'd like to request approval to go out to bid for the demolition of the building located at 27 Church Street.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And one last thing, I'd like to request the approval to hire American Environmental Solutions to prepare the bid specifications for this demolition of the building located at 27 Church Street, review all the qualified bids, and perform 3 site inspections during the demo, and that's at a cost not to exceed $6,000. That's the motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Anything else, Mark? No. Thank you. Trustee Devlin?
Good evening, everybody. I have just a recent addition that's not on the agenda. Resolution under 365-23A to increase commercial dumpster fees from $25 to $100. This is a 2-year fee. Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And then just one last thing, there's a new exhibit going up this week at Patchogue Arts Council, and there will be a reception on January 16th, so everybody is invited, 5 to 7 p.m. The exhibit is called New Voices. It's curated by John Sino, and this is the work of young emerging Long Island artists. So giving those young artists an opportunity to exhibit their work, and there should be some very exciting things. I'm familiar with some of the people, and some I'm not. So I'd love to see some people down there. We always have a nice spread courtesy of Paula Murphy.
This Saturday?
It's this Saturday, 5 to 7. I'll send you an invite, 5 to 7. I'll give you an invite. And I'm going to save my voice, and that's it.
Trustee Brinkman?
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I do have for us tonight a building and housing report. For the month-end ticket count for December, we have vehicle and traffic, 120 for this month. Building and housing, 0. Quality of life, 33. Parking written, including any handicap violations, were 149. And parking electronic were 0 because we did offer our free parking during the holiday season. I have a request for approval to reimburse Ryan Murphy $250 for the certified code enforcement training course at Stony Brook University.
Motion second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I've also had the great fortune of working on the blight study with Trustee Devlin, and we did meet over the week. And I've also been putting in some man hours in the building department, pulling some files and working property by property on the properties listed on the blight study so that I have a really good in-depth knowledge of each of the properties so that we can work on that effectively. So many thanks to Carol and the staff in the building department for being so kind and courteous to me, having me in there and showing me the inner workings of the department. So it's been a great learning experience.
What's the timeline on that?
Timeline, we are working on 5 separate zones within that blight study, so I've already completed about 1.5, and I know that the staff there is also going to be assisting me working on that. So.
I think, yeah, if all the information that was requested at the meeting is gotten back to VHP, then she was saying the end of February, she will be able to make a presentation to the board. So, I did see Carol forward, started filling in those categories of information.
Just the sense about the blight study itself, it puts us in a position as we begin to look at properties for parking, looking for areas that need improvement. It puts us legally in a position to be able to to do the appraisals, make the offers, and go forward with the development of properties. It is a very valuable tool to have, and it's what has helped us over the years, but we need to update what we have and include areas that may have changed, areas that may need improvement. Any other comments by the board? Mr. Egan?
Thank you.
Close it. Public to be heard. All the way in the back.
Yeah.
Get the Krawczyk people out of the way early.
Mark Siegel, Plum. Thank you for the free parking for the month. Also, there's a light behind our store on a telephone pole. It's probably from PSG and LI. It's been out forever. But it would be better if it was lit because it would light up that whole little parking lot behind us. We have special lights we put in ourselves, but it's still, after the years, it doesn't light up the whole thing. So it's facing our back, our store.
Yeah.
You know, if we can find out, they can fix it.
It's right behind the store mall?
Well, it's on a pole right near the bank, and it's facing
And
us.
it's facing your
Facing
back?
us.
Okay.
There's a light up that whole area back.
Yeah, yeah, but it's been out for a long time.
Lovely.
Okay? Thank you.
That could be a PSC and G.
That's what I figured, that's what I thought, that's what.
Maybe.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Kemp, you put your hand up.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Richard Kemp, James Avenue. First question, Mr. Mayor. Are you in receipt of my letter?
No.
Okay.
When did you send me this letter?
I delivered it here in person.
When?
About a week ago.
I gotta check on my desk. I have it in now for last week. I'll check.
All right. In the December meeting, I raised an issue where I asked if you could start a new policy at public hearings. One, to ask speakers to take an oath to tell the truth, and two, that if an applicant asks for rebuttal, that he will be granted. Have you,
We have not reviewed that yet. Thank you.
all right, I ask you to look into that. Second issue with the December meeting, and I do have a copy of the rough draft of the minutes, which I had great difficulty obtaining. But at any rate, your statement was that Brookhaven Town meetings, speakers are limited. However, that is not the case in public hearings.
No, it is the case in public hearings.
Mr. Krieger.
Where the applicant can speak as long as they like on theirs, but anybody who's speaking from the audience has 5-minute limit.
But there is rebuttal given to the applicant
Yes.
by all boards, including the Board of Trustees, the Planning Board, the Zoning Board, the Apartment
I
Review
can't
Board.
talk about those boards, but from town board meetings, the applicant can come back to, the applicant can come back.
Hearing.
Right, at a public hearing, after the applicant goes first, then anybody who wants to speak comes in and speaks, and then the applicant can come and address what those people say. But then it's not open again for the people to come back and forth, otherwise we'd go on all night.
So the applicant is given rebuttal.
Yes.
All right. And would you also agree that every speaker at a public hearing is given an oath to tell the truth?
Yes, unless they're an attorney.
Right.
There is no
All right.
That is correct.
There you have it firsthand from your...
Okay, thank you very much.
So I think you should adopt that policy. Second point regarding the theater and the renovation work, I would suggest do not accept any shoddy workmanship.
We have Mr. Sarich, who's our senior building inspector, is there every day. And he does the approvals on everything before we make payment.
Well, you accepted the roof.
That goes, the roof is not shoddy workmanship.
No, but you accepted it as a completed job when the roofing manufacturer would not pass it for
20 years ago. That's before our time.
That's.
I didn't accept anything.
This current roof now has a 50-year guaranteed roof, and the installer was an approved installer of the manufacturer.
All right, in the December meeting, you stated that there was wood molding in the lobby of the theater, that there was some type of fire treatment.
Yeah, they
I had never heard of such a thing.
Well, what they had done is they put the fire protectant over the wood before the stain cured underneath. So it affected the protectant that they put on the top. It's like any time when you do that with paint or any kind of things like that. If the first coat is not cured and you put something else on top of it, it never works out. That's what happened. But that was before our time. This goes back to 1996, way before our time.
I'm just trying to say that if you accept shoddy workmanship and you sign off on it, you're stuck with it for the rest of the eternity.
Absolutely agree.
So,
absolutely agree with you. But I think Mr. Sarich and Marion Russo are handling that project. I think they're doing a very good job. And I took a tour of the theater on Friday, and I can say that there is not shoddy work going on there. It's all being done by the book.
All right, Mr. Mayor, in the past, I have brought it up. Have you taken any consideration of moratoriums on bars and drinking establishments? Because it has gotten to be a very serious situation at the Emporium. It was reported that there were 2 assaults in December and 1 in October, and it has really gotten to be a crazy situation where people are being lugged off to Brookhaven Hospital, obviously injured. It's a dangerous situation. So I think a moratorium is the appropriate thing to consider better businesses to come into the village.
You know, the problem you have is that people do have property rights, of what they're allowed to do on their property, and what they can do in their places. And I, like you, and like probably everybody else here in the audience, I'd love to see more dry retail come in. You'd love to see it come in. But when you look at downtowns now, unless you're downtown like Salem, which has an established dry retail businesses, it is very, very difficult to draw them to downtowns such as Patchogue. And I can understand exactly what you're saying. These are the same concerns that we have at this board level. And I can discuss what you're saying, and we'll discuss it individually as a board at a later date, but thank you for the recommendation.
Well, Mr. Mayor, let me point out that at one time, you did have a position with Brookhaven Town where you encouraged certain businesses to fill up vacancies.
Yes, and we do that all the time. We do that all the time. I'm meeting with people on a consistent basis about trying to get stuff in downtown. That's what the job is. That's what my job requires me to do. It is what I enjoy doing. But, you know, we brought in the place, the Dusty Attic, which came from Port Jefferson, right next to the theater, which is a dry retail. Kilman's isn't a dry retail, obviously, but it's not alcohol driven. Toast, the new little restaurant.
Yeah, which by the way, you couldn't even get near that place this weekend. Because the wine out the door.
Toast is not, fits into the category you're talking about because it's non-alcoholic. So we're pushing it and we're looking for those places as best we can find them. And up by 89 North, I know they've opened up a little arts.
Yeah, there's like a painting and wine.
Right.
You get a glass of wine and they teach you how to paint.
They teach you how to paint. So there's an effort to do that, very much so, and I agree with you. You know, you and I don't agree on something, but you said you agree with me. I'd love to see more dry retail come in. And we work towards doing that.
And we have the girl putting in the yoga studio,
You
where
got-
Patchogue Frame used to be.
Yeah, well, Patchogue Frame is
I'm not sure what her time frame is, but that's very,
so yoga and
It's
meditation and,
It's like meditation, but she's gonna have a store in the front with all the kind of tchotchkes that go along with that spiritual, whatever.
right.
So it is gonna be retail with some activities in that.
I mean, if you take into consideration the fact that it has gotten to a point, my tenant reports to me that the Main Street is covered with vomit.
Oh, come on, please.
Oh.
Oh, please, spare me. You know, if you believe your tenant, and he's the guy who created the vomit.
Mr. Mayor,
Please,
Mr. Smith
please.
spent
You know,
enormous
no,
amounts
no,
of money to clean
no,
up the Brookhaven
please.
Theater.
Please. Okay, and you've had your 5 minutes. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Kemp, are you going to sit here and, how long is your list? I got other people that'd like to speak tonight.
I have one more matter.
Oh, thank you very much.
On my street, there were at least 20 letters that went out regarding sidewalks.
Yep.
There are contractors pouring concrete Friday. It was below freezing. It is below freezing right now. It rained all weekend. You're gonna have a lot of problems with all this.
Well,
There are, in addition to this, there are people who are making patchwork. There is no inspection by anybody from the village, so you don't know how thick
wrong
it
again.
is.
Wrong again, but that's okay. You can only 2 times tonight. They will be inspected. They are always inspected.
How
What
can
are you
it-
sitting on your front porch?
I live right across from
Okay.
where,
What does the code read on that, Mr.?
But Joe D does inspect those when they go out, before they get certified, either that or one of the village engineers. No question.
Thank you.
well, let me point out this to you. New York State, a few years ago, there was a certain window of time where they stopped all pouring of concrete on New York State jobs
I
for
will speak
fear
to
of
Mr.
a
Dean about that
freeze.
tomorrow. I will speak to Mr. Dean about that tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, that's it.
Any other comments from the public? Mr. Bojack, come on up.
Good evening, everybody. John Bojack, 8 Knoxon Street. I just want to follow up on Mr. Kemp's comments with respect to the Emporium, because it's a little bit more complex than perhaps he's aware of.
No, I understand that.
I'll take a look.
No.
Actually, it's the zoning board that's paid a lot of attention to what's going on at the Emporium. If the public isn't aware, it was only less than a year ago, the Emporium had to have its zoning permit renewed.
Yep.
Taking into account the many concerns about safety issues at the Emporium, the zoning board granted them, as I recall, a one-year license, special permit for 1 year only. In order to put the Emporium management under supervision, again, just for public knowledge, the Emporium was committed to providing a safety plan, indicating the number of security staff that it had present. As well, they were supposed to put their security guards into the parking lot where some of these incidents are taking place. And to file these reports on a timely basis with the village.
I'll check to see whether they were filed.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know whether they are, whether they have been either, but Mr. Kemp and everyone else is entitled to come to the next hearing of the zoning board when this comes up.
Yeah. I think the thing about it is too, is that what we have to be cognizant of is you can't trace every action that happens in the parking lot back to a single place. There were 15 or 16 different places on Main Street. Yes, the Emporium's been the lightning rod for a lot of this stuff.
Right.
But I would not claim to say that everything, that both of those two things happened because of people from the Emporium. They could have been from Del Fuegos, they could have been from Hot Rod, they could have been from the Public House, they could have been from Parrot, they could have been from 10 or 12 other places. But I agree with you clearly on the fact that they made certain agreements to do certain things, and I don't know whether they comply with it or not, and I will find that out
Well,
for you.
my point is, for everybody
Yeah.
who's interested, there were 7 hearings,
No.
7 meetings last time, they can come to the...
No, I appreciate your comments, because they were well taken. Did they comply with what they said they were gonna do in terms of taking care of those things? You know, on the other side of it is that whenever the employer has a major event, they advise us, you know, the size of the event, who they're having, and what their concerns are. We work with Suffolk County Police, and they get monitored very, very closely. So, I mean, it's not like they're not under the watchful eye, more so than you might believe. But I appreciate the comment, because it's something that must be looked into.
That's not finished though. That's the Emporium, but Mr. Kemp is also right about something else. If you look at the press accounts, there have been a number of assaults, not just all at the Emporium. There's been at the Public House, the Village Idiot, Guyo. This is a problem. So I was very glad to hear that you're expanding the cameras.
Yes.
I think that's, of all the tools, that seems to be one of the most potent ones that the village can employ. Because you got to be able to see what's going on.
Well, you know, what's true is that whether it's the simplistic thing of graffiti or the assault.
Right.
You know, there was an assault, yes, back in October. And they have a clear picture, that they know who it is. I think arrests have been made. So that gets out there also, that we're managing. And Dennis, how many cameras do we have now on Main Street?
That we control, we have 4, but every business virtually has their own camera now anyway.
Right.
There are 30.
You probably got 2-3 dozen cameras on it.
And what's been great about it is that all of the places have been cooperative. You know, every place that there's been an incident or something that we need to see, they've been very, very cooperative.
As much as I'm a Silverwood area, and I am, these violent incidents must be crushed.
Drive me
And if
crazy.
these cameras can help, let them be.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Comments?
I just want to make, I think one thing we have to understand is that these aren't just random assaults, people in the parking lot just getting whacked on the head. Most of these are assaults that stem from incidents that happen inside a bar or whatever, and then it goes out into the parking lot, so.
They're mutual combatants.
Yeah, it's not like people are unsafe in the parking lot just getting randomly assaulted here. I just want to make that clear.
Any other comment? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Good. Aye.
Thank you.